We are starting a new unit today. The new unit is linear systems, meaning more than one linear equation, basically. We're going to learn how to solve complex multi-step algebraic equations, represent and classify systems of linear equations, solve a system of linear equations using graphing, substitution, and elimination, and apply mathematical strategies to solve problems using a system of linear equations to help in decision making. That's a bunch of gobbledygook, I'm sure. So just to explain it more clearly, basically what we're doing is, if you guys remember from the linear equations unit, when we would figure out where two lines intersect, you guys remember that from the summative?
I have a quick question, Reggie.
Yes. Does it need to be answered right now, or can we wait till the end?
We can wait, but it's actually kind of, I just realized it. I feel like I'm going to forget it. I'm going to write it down.
Okay.
I'm going to go like this.
So, it's basically...
interrupt.
Could people with noise in the background please mute their mics?
You want a bagel, yes or no? You want some strawberries?
Amalia, could you please mute your mic?
Applesauce? Oh, I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yes, no worries. Applesauce and strawberries sound great, but oh my gosh, it looks like Tomas, you awake? Yeah, there we go. We got a thumbs up. He's in there. Okay, so basically the long and short of what I'm saying is we're using different ways to figure out where two lines intersect using both graphing and algebra. All right, that's the most basic way to explain what we're doing. So I'm going to start today with a little review of how to determine the degree of an equation, because that's going to help us. And please pay attention, because you do have an assignment today, and the beginning is to fill out a table like the one I'm going to pull up, and it's going to be extremely easy if you just listen right now. The goal is not for it to be hard. It's just for you to show me that you understand what we're discussing. So I'm going to present my screen. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Right on. Does everyone see this table up here in the top right?
Yeah, we see the table.
Wonderful. So
The table.
take a look at this table here. Does anyone in class remember going over, maybe last year, it might have been a while, how to determine the degree of an equation? And if you do, can you share?
Yes.
Go ahead, Nicholas.
The degree of a equation is basically the highest power that the equation is raised to.
Yes, that's basically it. We could get into the way you determine the different terms of an equation, which is basically everything divided by a minus or a plus sign. So this is a term, this is a term, this is a term. But frankly, the easiest way to think about it is just the degree is equal to the highest exponent in the equation. In this case, there is no exponent in the first equation, right? That would be a degree of 1, because theoretically this g is to the power of 1. Anytime a variable has no exponent listed, this w down here, it's to the power of 1. Does that make sense? Because to the power of 1 is just a number. 5 to the first is just 5. So in this equation, the degree is 1. When the degree is 1, that means that the equation is linear. An equation with a degree of 1 will make a straight line on a graph. In this particular situation, we have a degree of 2, because the highest exponent in the equation is 2. So the degree would be 2. Anytime an equation has a degree of 2, it's classified as quadratic. Can anyone in the class tell me what a quadratic equation would look like?
AX squared plus BX
Isn't it
equals 0.
Yes, these are correct formulas. I just mean, what's the shape? It's a parabola, right?
Yes.
Quadratic, if there is an exponent of 2, the graph will be a quadratic, that means it's a parabola. That means it makes a U shape instead of a line. If the highest exponent is to the third, like in the case of the third equation, it has a degree of 3 and it is a cubic. Can anyone tell me what the shape of a cubic graph is?
Like
Very
two
cool.
parabolas connected together going different ways.
Yeah, here, I can show you guys so you can take a look. And none of you are expected to know this. Don't worry, we're all learning this. So a cubic graph basically looks like this. It's like one parabola connected to another parabola. They make this sort of S shape, okay? And then a quadratic will make a parabola. Let's show you. Quadratic graph. So this is a parabola. Now, I want you guys to imagine, real quick, when we have two lines, right? And we solve for that system of equations. What that means is we are just finding the point where they intersect. You guys probably remember we did this on the Rainforest Summative. You would find when meat consumption in developing countries would intersect, right? So when we say you're going to solve for two equations, we just mean you're going to find where they intersect. Now, normally, two lines will only intersect in one place, right? If they intersect at all. If they're parallel lines, they won't. But they'll only intersect in one place. If I were to draw a straight line through a parabola, how many places would it intersect?
2.
Two, exactly. And then again, what was the degree of our parabola? 2.
1.
No, it's 2.
Nico.
Nico, it's okay.
And then if I were to draw a straight line through a cubic, how many places would it intersect?
3.
3. And what's the degree? 3, exactly.
So 3.
Okay, so on the homework, I'm going to have you guys fill out a little table with these. It's really simple. Don't overthink it. You find the degree based on what the highest exponent is. If there's no exponent, the degree is 1, because this g, for example, would be g to the first.
Oh.
Anything with a degree of 1 is linear. Anything with a degree of 2 is quadratic, and anything with a degree of 3 is cubic. It's that simple. I just want you guys to understand that. So in the rest of the unit, when I use those terms, you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be the start of the homework. Okay, now let me read a couple things to you guys before we kick off, and I'm also going to do some examples of how to solve an equation for a variable, just in case any of you are rusty. Okay, so first, in this unit, you'll be solving linear equations. You may have noticed that in each equation in the investigation, this one right here, each equation contains only one variable. That means there's only one letter. There's just a G or an M or a C or an X. There's not two different variables in the equations. When there is only one variable, a single equation is all you need to solve for the variable, to find the value of it. If there are two variables, how many equations do you think you would need to solve for both the variables?
2.
2. The answer is 2, yes. So that's a lot of what we're going to be doing this unit, is you get two equations and you solve for both variables. And we're going to show you different methods to do so. Okay? So instead of reading the intro that they gave you all about social entrepreneurship here, which I think is interesting, but honestly, we have 12 hours for this whole unit, including the test. And so we're not going to get to spend a bunch of time talking about the ways we can apply it to social entrepreneurship. And we need to really just mostly focus on the math. That's what happens when we have these short units with distance learning. So instead, I'm going to read you guys actually it was 350, the unit summary right now. This is explaining everything we're going to learn this unit, okay? You are not expected to know any of this yet. That's okay, but I'm sort of setting the signposts for you guys right now to see where we are going, okay? So I'm over here on the left if you want to read along. A linear equation, this we just mentioned, is an equation of degree 1. A quadratic is an equation of degree 2, and a cubic is an equation of degree 3. An equation generally has the same number of solutions as its degree. That means there are that many points of intersection. A system of equations is a group of equations that can be solved for each of the variables it uses. With 2 variables, you will need at least 2 equations in order to find the values of both variables. If the 2 equations are both linear, you have what is called a system of linear equations, or simply a linear system. This is going to be what we focus on most this unit. Linear systems can be solved by graphing each of the lines and finding the point of intersection. They can be solved algebraically using substitution or elimination. We're going to learn, you don't know that yet, we're going to learn how to do that this unit. I'm not going to tell you how to do it with substitution or elimination, these parts, because we're going to get to that later. I don't want to overwhelm you. You can always verify your answers by substituting into the original equations. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do it right now. A linear system can have no solution, 1 solution, or infinitely many solutions. Can someone tell me, you can unmute, what it means if a linear system, meaning 2 or more linear equations, have no solution?
They don't intersect.
It means they don't intersect at any point, which also
Parallel.
means what? They are parallel. If 2 lines are parallel, they never intersect. That means there is no solution. If there are infinitely many solutions, what does that mean?
They're like the same line.
Yeah, they're like the same line. They're literally on top of each other. So every value works for both. Does that make sense? So if you're graphing a linear system that has no solutions, oh, it says right here, they're parallel to each other. When there are infinitely many solutions, you're given the same line twice. If we're solving them algebraically, meaning we're trying to like solve for x instead of graphing, when there are infinitely many solutions, meaning it's the same line twice, what'll happen is you'll end up with a true equation, such as at the end, it'll just be 0 equals 0. That indicates to you that there are infinite solutions. It's the same line twice. If there is no solution, if the lines never intersect, then when you solve it algebraically, you'll end with an equation that is not true. For example, 0 equals 2 or -4 equals 7. Again, you guys aren't expected to memorize any of this right now or know any of this ahead of time. I'm reading you the unit summary to give you the signposts of what we're going to be learning over the next 4 weeks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
It does
So,
absolutely make sense, and I'm very excited for this unit.
No, it doesn't.
awesome.
Sorry.
So real quick, guys, I'm going to try, and before I send you off, you have an assignment on ManageBack. You guys can open it up if you want, but I'm going to start. Before I
All right.
send you guys to do it,
Okay.
I'm going to have you guys solve for X. We're going to solve single variable equations today. All that is just practice before we start doing 2 variable equations. And I am going to solve some of these on the board right now to show you guys how to do it as a refresher, okay? So please follow along. It's okay if you don't remember how to do this. If you feel like this is just completely review, you can go start the assignment while I'm doing it. But please hang out if you're unsure how to do these, and I'll show you how to solve some. And also, if you start the homework and you're unsure how to do it, please come to my office hours today so I can show you there. Does that make sense? I'll take that as a yes.
Yes,
So,
it does make
Wait,
sense.
Reggie,
yes,
can you
Kanan.
repeat how the degree of the equation is related to the number of solutions?
Yes. So, let me go back.
And where's
Back
the thing? I can't find it.
Where's what thing?
The thing.
The assignment? It should be on your ManageBack at 11:55 p.m. tonight when it is due.
It's not. I don't have it.
Nico, reload your page.
Reload your page.
What
I
is
did.
this? It's right there. You do have it.
Yeah, I do now.
Okay. So, Kanan, to answer your question, the degree is equal to the number of solutions. For example, if I drew a straight line through a cubic, which has a degree of 3, there'd be 3 points of intersection, right? If I drew a straight line through a quadratic, there would be 2 points of intersection. So the degree is equal to the number of solutions. Does that make sense? So I'm going to solve some of these equations for x on the board right now to review with you guys how to do them. One of them that I am going to do is on the homework. So if you'd like to see exactly how to do it, stay tuned. If this is all review for you, please feel free to start the homework. But I imagine many of you could use a little review with this because we haven't done it in a bit, and that's perfectly okay. So I'm going to try and do this on this whiteboard because I think it's a lot easier. Oh, which reminds me, sorry, important thing. Solving equations algebraically is way easier if you can write it out than if you can type it out, and I'm aware of this. So if you guys would like to mostly use a notebook and to solve these equations and then take a picture and email me them, that is okay. I understand. You can also take a picture and load it straight onto the Google Doc, which makes my life easier. But either way, because it's so much easier to do writing than typing, that's why I went and bought a whiteboard so I can try and do it on the whiteboard for you guys.
Reggie,
Yes.
can you unpresent so that we can see your screen
Great call.
better?
That's a good point because we
Great
can.
call. Thank you, Kanan. Great call. Can you
I
see it
appreciate
now?
Great call. Great call.
Great
Yeah.
call. Great call. Great
Yes,
call.
I can.
Okay, so I'm going to
We
solve
can
some
only
on
see
the board.
top.
Oh, you can only see the
can-
top.
We can only see like the top inches, and now there's a reflection of your lamp, so I can't read it.
Ah, this is so annoying.
Yeah, I like that lamp.
Thank
That's
you.
funny, Max.
I can read it now.
What? There's
I
no
can
joke.
sort of read it now, but I just don't know where the assignment is.
I'm saying I like the
Didn't
lamp.
you already find it, Nico?
Oh yeah.
On today's
Guys, all right, I'm going to keep trying to experiment. I'm doing my best here. Would a different color
That's
maybe work
good.
better?
No, it's fine. That works.
I'll try blue. So I'm going to just try and solve some right now on the board. This is a work in progress for me. I'm going to try blue. If you can't see it, just let me know. I'm doing my best to make this work. All right, guys? So I'm going to solve some. I'm on my knees right here next to it so that you guys can hopefully see it. So we're going to start with 3 times x plus 4
Aiden, you.
equals negative 3x.
My bad.
Can you guys see that? Yes.
Is
Okay.
there? Is it?
Yes.
Okay, I see it now.
I can see it.
All right. Thank you, guys. So there are more than
I
one
can see
way to solve equations for a variable. All right. And there's not really a right way. There's ways that seem to make more sense. Maddie, you cannot see it. Is that what the no means? What can't you see? Can you not see the writing? Or the board? Is it the glare?
Yeah, so
Yay.
you could actually see it even if it wasn't. Okay.
Okay. So again, there's more than one right way to solve an equation for a variable. You don't have to do it in a specific order. I'm going to show you the way that makes the most sense to me. Okay. So if we have 3 times x plus 4 equals negative 3x, the first thing you can do is you can multiply the 3 times the x and times the plus 4. That's going to give you 3 times x is 3x plus 3 times 12, or 3 times 4 is 12. 3x plus 12 equals negative 3x. Now remember, my goal is to get x alone on one side of the equation and a number alone on the other side. So I am going to try and get x's off of one side. So to do that, I can just subtract 3x from both sides. Anytime I do something to one side, I have to do it to the other side for the equation to remain balanced. So here I have now 3x plus 12 minus 3x equals negative 3x minus 3x. So now my 3x minus 3x just cancels out because 3x minus 3x is 0. My negative 3x minus 3x, that does not cancel out because negative 3 minus 3 is not 0. What was that, Tomas?
I'm gonna have to have multiple lessons.
That's quite all right, Tomas. No worries at all. We're just starting the unit, so it's okay.
Quite all right.
I hear an echo.
I hear an echo as well.
And also, Tomas, I can go over all of it in office hours too. So no worries. The reason I'm going over this right now is because I don't expect you guys to have all of this memorized, okay? So, negative 3x minus 3x is negative 6x. I have negative 3x's. I take away 3 more x's. I now have negative 6x's. So I'm now left with 12 equals negative 6 times x. The last thing I need to do then is I can divide both sides by negative 6 because I want to leave just an x alone on one side. And negative 6 times x divided by negative 6 leaves just x. So now I have negative 6x divided by negative 6 leaves just x. And 12 divided by negative 6 equals what?
-2.
Negative
12
2.
divided by negative 6 is equivalent to negative 2.
Exactly. So I'm now left with negative 2 equals x. That is my solution. Now, remember we mentioned earlier that you can plug your answer back into the original equation to check your work. So let me show you how to do that. We know that negative 2 equals x. And we know that our original equation was 3 times x plus 4 equals negative 3x. So now I'm just going to put in negative 2 where x was. So we have 3 times negative 2 plus 4 equals negative 3 times negative 2. So now I get what's negative 2 plus 4? 2. So now I have 3 times 2 equals negative 3 times negative 2. 3 times 2 equals 6. Negative 3 times negative 2 equals 6. That means that I did it correctly. And in fact, x equals negative 2. Okay? Now, again, that might be a little confusing. No worries. We're just starting the unit. I'm going to do like 3 or 4 more of these on the board right now, just to show you guys how to do it. Again, if you would like to start on your homework, you can start on it at any time. But if you would like to see how I do these, I'm going to keep doing them. And I'm going to do what I think is the one that's 2x squared plus 100 equals 5x squared minus 407. I'm going to do on the board in a bit. So I'll show you how to do that one. If after all of this, you still are like, hey, Reg, I don't quite know how to do this, that is fine. But please come to my office hours and I can walk you through it, okay? Because we have 4 weeks to get this down. So I'm going to do another one for you. 5x over 2 equals 4x plus 3. So again, there's more than one way you can solve these. I am going to just show you the way that makes the most sense to me. So right now we have 5x divided by 2 equals 4x plus 3. And I am trying to essentially untangle this so that there is just an x on one side and a number on the other. It's almost like this is a knot that's been all tied together, and we need to untie it one string at a time. So I'm trying to get an x alone on one side and a number alone on the other. So the first thing I'm going to do is I find this 5x over 2 to be tough to deal with. So I want to just eliminate it. And the way I can do that is I do the opposite of divided by 2, which is times 2. I can multiply this times 2. And anything divided by 2 times 2 is just going to equal the original thing. It eliminates the divided by 2. But I have to do the same thing to both sides. So I have to multiply both sides by 2. So 5x over 2 times 2 is just 5x. right? You can imagine if I had the number 6 divided by 2, it would be 3. If I multiply it by 2, we're back to 6. So 5x divided by 2 times 2 brings me back to 5x. On the other side, I have 4x plus 3 now times 2. So I got to multiply 2 by 4x. That's going to give me 8x. And 2 times 3, which is going to give me 6. So this tells me that 5x equals 8x plus 6. Remember, I'm trying to get x on one side and a number on the other. So I'm going to get rid of this x so that I just have x's over here and 6's over there. The way I do that is if I have a positive 8x, I can just subtract 8x. But remember, I have to do it from both sides. So 8x plus 6 minus 8x is going to leave me with just 6 because 8x minus 8x is 0. 5x minus 8x is going to leave me with negative 3x because we had 5 positive x's. We took away 8 x's. So now we have negative 3 x's. Negative 3 then x equals 6. Now, if I have negative 3 times x, the only thing I have to do is divide by negative 3 because the opposite of negative 3 times x is dividing by negative 3. That's going to leave an x on the left side, and on the right side, I have 6 divided by negative 3, which is negative 2. So x equals negative 2 again. It's awfully quiet over there. I'm sure everyone is totally riveted right
Can
now.
you do question number 2 from the homework?
Me too. I need that help.
Which one's question 2?
4x
We know.
minus 9 over 3 minus 5x plus 12 over 6 equals 3x.
Sure. I don't want to do all of them from the homework because I want you guys to have to do them.
I don't get it.
Okay, I'll show you guys how to solve it. All right. I don't want to do all of them from the homework. So we get 4x minus 9 over 3 minus 5x plus 12 over 6 equals 3x. Right? This is the problem?
Yes.
Okay. So the way that makes this way easier for me is when I have, for example, 4x minus 9 over 3, you can break this apart. It's the exact same as saying 4x over 3 minus 9 over 3. Do you see what I did there? I just took the 3 and put it under both and did the minus there. Do you guys see that? Here I would go minus 5x over 6 plus 12 over 6. Can you guys read this?
Yeah.
So did you see what I did there, how I broke them up?
Mhm.
Now, furthermore, 4x over 3 is the exact same thing as 4/3 x, as 4/3 times x. 4 times x divided by 3 is the exact same thing as 4/3 times x. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have 4/3 x minus 9/3 minus, I'm going to do the same thing, 5/6 x plus 12/6 equals 3x. Okay? Now I'm just going to combine my like terms. Okay? What is 9/3 as a number?
3.
It's just 3, right?
9/3, I think, is 3.
So really, this is just minus 3. And what is 12/6 as a number?
2.
2. Hey, Sam, was that a question to me?
No.
Okay, I don't mind you guys chatting in the chat, but I'm sort of assuming every message in the chat is just you guys having fun right now. So
Let's
if you
do
do
that.
have a question for me, I won't.
Having fun. We're learning
Well, yeah.
from each other. From each other.
So 12/6 is also what number?
2.
2. 12 divided by 6 is 2, or 12/6 is 2 worth of sixths. So this is actually plus 2. So I have minus 3 and plus 2. Now I have a 4/3 x minus a 5/6 x, right?
Yes.
Now it's hard to take 4/3 x and subtract 5/6 x because they don't have the same denominator, right?
Yes.
But I can easily give them the same denominator, right?
Yes.
I could just double 4/3
Keep it
into
quiet, please.
8/6. So I took my 4 and multiplied it by 2 and my 3 and multiplied it by 2 because 8/6 is equivalent to 4/3, right?
Yes.
So now and now I'm just going to combine my like terms. So I have 8/6 x minus 5/6 x. So what does that leave me?
3/6x.
3/6 x. I took my 8 and subtracted my 5. My denominators were the same, so I could leave them. So I have 3/6 x. And then I have a minus 3.
Really loud and be quiet.
Kano, do not talk to your friend like that.
Guys,
Kanan, if
this
you
is
could
like
mute,
a-
that would be great. Thank you. So then we have
Yeah,
a minus
that would be
3 and a plus 2. What's negative 3 plus 2?
Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1.
Negative 1. So I have 3/6x minus 1 equals 3x. Okay? So now I just want to get my x on one side of the equation and my numbers on the other. So I'm just going to subtract 3/6x. I realize I'm getting to the bottom of my board here. But minus 3/6x from both sides. Now 3/6 is also 1 what?
Half.
1/2. So basically I just subtracted a half x from both sides. So what would 3x minus 1/2 x be?
2.5x.
2.5x. So I'm going to erase this because I ran out of space and then move up. But what I have here is I took my 3/6x and I subtracted 3/6x. So that's 0, leaving just my negative 1. And then I had 3x minus 3/6x, or 1/2 x. So 3 minus 1/2 leaves me with 2.5x. So I'm going to erase this just so I can move up. I have here negative 1 equals 2.5x. That's what I was left with there, okay? So now I can divide both sides by 2.5 to find out what x equals, okay? Someone want to tell me what negative 1 divided by 2.5 is?
Can you say it again?
Negative 1 divided by 2.5. I think it's going to be negative 2/5.
Negative 2/5.
Negative 2/5. Perfect. So negative 2/5 equals x. By the way, you guys can use calculators on everything this entire unit, okay? So we have negative 2/5 equals x, okay? So now if I want to find out, maybe I made a mistake. Aiden says, and by the way, it helps if you just vocalize it because I assume that the chat.
I thought it was negative 0.4.
I don't get it. Are we just
Yeah.
Well, didn't we multiply the 4x by 2? Wouldn't that make it so that we have to multiply the 3x by 2 as well?
Kanan, that's the same thing.
Ditto.
Oh, yeah. Ah,
When did we multiply by 2? Oh,
To get
I remember. So no, Aiden, I didn't. So 4/3, I just converted the fraction
you just
to
converted it?
8/6. So 8/6 times x is the exact same thing as 4/3 times x, right?
Okay, thanks.
So I
understand.
didn't actually multiply it. I just changed my fraction to give it equivalent denominators, right?
I just kind of got confused. I wrote it as 8/6. I just put like a multiplication sign.
No worries.
But thanks.
So yes, negative 0.4 or negative 2/5 equals x. So now if I want to check my work, I can just plug my answer. Maybe I made a mistake. We'll find out. I can plug my answer of negative 2/5 in for x. Okay? And it should be equal. So on the right side, I'm going to have 3 times negative 2/5. That's just going to give me negative 6/5. So this should all equal that. We'll find out. Negative 6/5. So 4 times negative 2/5 equals negative 8/5 minus 9. And we can convert it also. We can do it as a decimal if we want. 4 times negative 0.4 equals negative 1.6. Minus 9 is negative 10.6. So we have negative 10.6 over 3 equals 5 times negative 2/5 would be negative 10/5 or negative 2. Negative 2 plus, oh, not equals, sorry, minus negative 2 plus 12 over 6. So now I get negative 10.6 over 3 minus 10, negative 2 plus 12 over 6. And we want to find out what that equals. So now we can just use our calculator. Negative 10.6 minus 3. Where's my phone? My calculator on it? Or divided by 3. So negative 10.6 divided by 3 equals negative 0.96. Minus 10/6 or 1.66666. So minus, well, it would be helpful if I didn't use my calculator here. Equals, so I have this as wrong. So maybe I did this wrong. Can anyone spot an error? Or maybe I just did it wrong in the calculator. And this is why it's good to check. Don't get mad. I messed up. I'm sorry.
Nico, please calm down.
Well, maybe I didn't mess up. It's just using your
Reddy's
phone
trying his
calculator.
best.
Maybe it's negative 1/2.
I'm
What?
confused.
I don't know why, but I think I got negative 1/2.
Show me your work.
I can't really show my
I'm
work.
always getting confused.
Or explain to me your work.
I'm confused.
Because I said that I just did 4/3. So I changed it into 4/3 x minus 3 minus 5/6 x plus 2, which equals 1/2 x minus 1.
No.
Yeah, because 4/3 equals 8/6, and 8/6 minus 5/6 equals 3/6.
Right. So you got 1/2 x minus 1 equals 3x.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So then you get 3. So then you get negative 2.5x, right?
Isn't 3? Wait, 1 sec. Oh,
That's what I got, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I got 1.5. Negative 1.5x.
How'd you get it?
Isn't so? Then my thing wasn't the final one like 1/2 x minus 1 equals 3x.
Did I do this one?
So then
Oh,
it'd be
yeah.
so then wouldn't it be negative 1 equals 1/2 x?
1/2 x minus 1 equals 3x, right?
Yeah,
So now I would subtract a half x, right?
yeah.
So then negative 1 equals
wouldn't you-
2.5x.
Wouldn't you have to divide 1/2 by 3?
No.
Oh, okay, I get it now. So the answer is negative 2.5.
Yeah, I believe it is. I'm trying to figure out where I messed up here. But I'm pretty sure that's the answer, yes, because you got that too.
Wait, the answer is negative 2.5? Not negative 0.4?
Oh, that's where I messed up. Perfect. So
What
this
did
is
you do?
still negative 10.6.
Isn't it negative 2, not 2.5?
What's negative 2?
The answer.
No, I got negative 2/5.
And that's the right answer?
I believe so. If someone can show me otherwise.
Negative what?
2/5. Negative 0.4.
Same.
Right? So this is negative 10.6 over 3. I can see where I messed up,
Right.
I believe.
You move it down so we can see it.
Right?
Thanks.
Minus, over here I have 5 times
You're
negative
welcome.
2/5 is negative 2 plus 12. So minus 10/6. Did I write the equation down wrong? No. All right, I'll do another one, but I want to figure out why my thing isn't working. Why it ain't working?
I don't like math anymore.
That's fair.
Nico, that's not very nice. You know, first with
I
English, now with
really
this
don't
class.
want you to talk to me. Thank you.
Okay. Apologies, everyone. I know it's frustrating when your math teacher can't do the math
Can we
correctly.
go into lunch instead of doing office hours? Since I just want to get this done.
I'll keep going into lunch, sure.
Yes. Is that the same one?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I want to figure out if I made a mistake and where it is. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I can
Reggie,
make
if we
mistakes.
think we understand, can we leave?
100%.
Okay.
Can you
Yes.
go over the first part again? I don't understand it.
Which
What?
part?
The cubic ones.
Okay, so you add the exponent, or you find the highest exponent. If there's a cubed in it, then it's 3, right? If there's a squared is the biggest one, then it's 2, right?
12, it's 3. The degree is 3.
If what?
If it's 12, wait.
No. The degree is just equal to the highest exponent.
So 3.
Yeah.
Wait, do we know the answer?
And
So what?
What was the mistake?
I don't know.
But do
And-
we know the answer? What
Well,
was
when
the
I solved
answer?
it, it didn't come out right.
so if
So we
it's
don't know the answer.
So maybe not.
Oh, I do. Aiden, you just gotta just solve it.
yeah,
That's what I was doing. But
Kano, what'd you get?
Huh?
Reggie.
I got
What'd
Reggie.
you
Yes.
get? What?
Reggie.
I got what Reggie.
Yes.
If
What-
there's
what's
no
that?
exponent, is it just linear?
Yeah, it's the degree of 1 because there is an exponent. It's to the first.
Absolutely. I understand now.
Kano, what'd you get? Ditto.
Max, can you please be quiet?
Negative 2.5.
Why?
that's what I got too. But
I don't-
he's saying
Mm.
it's wrong.
It's right.
Negative
What,
2/5
2.5?
x?
2.5
No, negative
is what I
2/5
got.
x.
Ah!
Negative 3.
Reggie, you said negative.
For me, it
Reggie,
doesn't plug in. I don't think it.
I know, it's not plugging in for me either.
It's
I don't
not-
think it's right,
I
Kano.
think you just need to not do this
Reggie,
exercise.
It's not 2/5. It's 2.5.
It's 2.5.
Yeah.
No, it's negative 2, Kano.
No, it's not. It's negative 2.5.
It's
Yeah, I wrote negative
2.
2.5.
Hey, Truck, I calculated it too and figured it out. It's 2.5.
Isn't
Okay,
it
well,
negative?
you can
Are you
see
sure?
that's right.
Are you sure, Kanoa? Because I mean, I don't want to put down an answer that I didn't put.
It's negative 2.5.
Shush.
That's what we got 20 minutes ago.
No, he got 2. He said 2/5 instead
Yeah,
of
that's
2.
not what I got. Don't worry. I might have messed up.
No, I heard. Oh, I heard someone say.
I think you accidentally used 2/5 instead of 2.5.
I heard negative 2/5. Is that wrong?
I think it's negative 2.5.
Definitely negative 2.5.
But how does this have to do with the degrees and classifications?
That's good because that's going to matter into how many solutions you can find.
Bad.
All right. Well, I'll figure out later where I messed up. I'm going to do another one for you guys. Okay.
Reggie.
Wait, can there be more than one solution for the equation?
Yes,
Oh.
Reggie, I have a question.
but that's going to depend on the degree. This equation only has a degree of 1, so there should only be one solution.
Okay.
Yes.
How do we get negative 2.5?
How do I define linear? Do I just say it has a classification of linear? I mean, a degree of 1.
That works.
So for number 2, I just have to write linear equation, degree of 1.
Reggie, how would I do the third one?
What's the third one? This one?
2/3 x something.
I'll do that one in a second.
I can't really see your whiteboard, so
Yeah, it's kind of like the half.
it's really blurry.
Can you? No, it's not.
It's
Like
really
the
blurry.
lights, there's
Reggie?
glare through the-
Yes. Yes.
I made a mistake and I actually accidentally did the assignment from like last month again.
Okay.
And then I joined this meet at 11.
At 11. You mean at
Okay.
12?
I mean, at 12:30. I mean, at 11:30.
Okay.
And so I missed like a bunch of stuff and I'm really confused now.
Okay. Well, I'm recording this,
Okay.
Oliver. But Oliver, did you read the instructions I posted that said come to the Google Hangouts?
There's an echo. There's an echo.
I read the instructions that you posted a month ago.
Why did you
It
do
said come
that?
to the
Because he thought it was.
because I
Oh,
was
you
on
had the
there.
date
I was
wrong.
on, yeah.
That's fair. So Oliver, I got a recording of this I can post. Also, you can come to my office hours, okay?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat, bro, because still very confused.
No worries, Tomas. It's the first
Are
day
we
of
in
the
our
unit.
houses? Not on a boat.
But please come to my office hours and let me work through stuff with you, okay?
All right.
Okay, so we have 2x squared plus 100 equals 5x squared minus 407. We're solving for x. We want to get x alone on one side of the equation and a number on the other. So I'm going to start by just adding this 407 over here, this minus 407. I want to get rid of it, so I do the opposite, which is adding 407. So now I need to add 407 to this side. So I have now 5x squared minus 407 plus 407. The minus 407 and plus 407 cancel out because they equal 0. Then I have 2x squared plus 100 plus 407. 100 plus 407 is 507.
507.
So now I get 2x
I'm
squared
trying to help.
plus 507 equals 5x squared. Now, I can just take this 2x squared and subtract it from both sides. So on the left, I would now have 2x squared plus 507 minus 2x squared. 2x squared minus 2x squared is just 0. Over here, I would have 5x squared minus 2x squared. So I'm now left with 507 equals 3x squared. I had 5x squareds before. I got rid of 2 of the x squareds. I now have 3x squareds left. So now what would I do? I would first thing I would do is I'd divide by 3 to get rid of the 3 in front of the x squared. You can't just square root this to get rid of the square because you'd have to square root the 3 also. So I'm going to divide by 3 first.
What?
Who said what?
No, I understand.
Nico said it.
So 507 divided by 3 is 169.
What? I thought.
Yes. So now I get 507 divided by 3 leaves me with, I'm writing it over here just because I was out of space, 169 equals x squared. So now, and you guys can use your calculator for this.
13.
I'm grabbing my chair because my knees are hurting.
13.
So now I'm going to square root both sides. The square root of 169 is 13.
That's what I said.
So 13 equals x. I've now
Is that the
solved
answer?
for x.
Is that the answer?
Well, how do we check?
It
You
could
have
also
to
be
do
negative
it
13.
backwards.
You have to do it backwards. No, you plug it in, right?
Yeah, so you plug in 13
Now.
to x's.
Max brought up a very important point.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you, Max.
You're welcome.
So, remember what we said about how an equation with a degree of 2 would have 2 solutions?
Yep.
What degree does this equation have?
That's a cubic.
No, it has a degree of what?
2.
2. What's a 2? What's
Quadratic.
a quadratic? So there should be 2 solutions, right?
Negative.
Yes, I have, I'm taking the square root of 169. 13 squared equals 169. Can you guys think of another number that squared equals 169?
Negative 13.
Negative 13, right? Both 13 squared equals 169 and negative 13 squared equals 169 because a negative times a negative is a positive. So this actually has 2 solutions, 13 and negative 13, okay?
Wait, what? How do you do one that has 3?
We'll get there. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, let's not do that, Nico.
Max, please be quiet.
It's just
So-
trying to comment. So thanks.
I'm going to erase this. Remember how we checked our work? We plug it in. You can just plug in 13. If 13 works, negative 13 will work and vice versa.
Okay.
Because once you square x, if it's a negative, it just becomes a positive. So remember, we already determined that 13 squared equals 169. So over here, we have 2 times 13 squared, which is 169. 2 times 169 plus 100 should equal 5 times 169 minus 407. So let's now see how we do that. 2 times 169 equals 338. 338 plus 100 should equal, what's 5 times 169? 845 minus 407. So here I have 438 equals 438. What does that mean? That means we solved it correctly, Nico's empty chair.
It means we solved it correctly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kainoa, you still with me?
What?
You wanted to know how to solve J, right?
I think I
2/3
figured-
x.
J? Wait, what is J?
Sorry, I didn't label it as J on your homework.
D?
Probably, yeah. 2/3 x minus 4/3.
Oh, yeah.
The homework in the book was 12 problems. I only gave you guys 4 because I don't want to ruin your life.
Whoa.
Thank God.
Thank you, universe.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I have 2/3 x minus 4/3 equals 1/2 x minus 3/2, right? Right, Kanoa?
Yeah, I
Right.
guess.
Well, that's the equation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real.
So the first thing I want to do to make my life easier is I want to make my like terms, which is my x's and my just numbers here, have the same denominators,
Yes.
right? And so I'm just going to convert everything to sixths, okay, to make it easier. So I now have 4/6, which is the same as 2/3, 4/6 x minus 4/3, or no, minus 8/6, because I'm converting everything to sixths, equals 3/6 x minus 9/6. Do you see what I did there, Kainawa?
Yeah, now I think I know how to do it.
So now I'm going to subtract 3/6 x from both sides. Remember, I'm just trying to get all my x's on one side and all my numbers on the other. So I'll subtract 3/6 x from both sides. 3/6 x minus 3/6 is 0. So that cancels out. 4/6 x minus 3/6 equals 1/6 x. So now I have 1/6 x minus 8/6 equals negative 9/6. Now, I am going to add now, because remember, I'm trying to get my x's on one side and the numbers on the other. I'm going to add 8/6 to both sides. So, negative 9/6 plus 8/6 equals what?
Negative 1/6.
Thank you. So, now I have 1/6 x. I'm writing it over here now. 1/6 x, which is all that's left on my left side, equals negative 1/6. So now I'm going to divide both sides by the thing that is multiplying by x, 1/6. Right? Now, what is the same thing as dividing by 1/6?
Multiplying.
Multiplying by 6. It's the same thing. I could have multiplied both sides by 6.
Multiply.
Exactly. Because remember, 1/6 x is also the same as
Multiplication.
x over 6.
Please
So
don't
if I
destroy the
had
class.
x over 6 equals negative 1/6, I can now multiply both sides by 6. I'm left with x here equals, and what's negative 1/6 times 6? Negative 1.
You can't really see it because of the glare.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I can't.
Can you see it now, Kiana?
Yes.
So
Is
do you
it
see how I got to x equals
What do you
negative
mean
1?
x? Why do you got a 6?
because you multiply it, Aiden? I think.
Oh.
No.
oh,
So
yeah.
Aiden, Aiden, remember I had 1/6 times x equals negative 1/6?
Yep.
Right, Aiden?
Yeah.
So I could divide both sides by 1/6 right now, since it's 1/6 times x,
Achoo.
right?
Yeah.
So you would get negative 1/6 divided by 1/6, which is going to give you negative 1, right?
Yeah.
What I was saying is, if it's easier for you, you can think about 1/6 x as the same as 1
x.
times x over 6, or just x over 6. And then if you have x over 6, you can actually just multiply that by 6 to leave x, right? X
Yeah.
divided by 6 times 6. And then if
And
you do
then-
that to both sides, you get negative 1/6 times 6, which is going to be negative 1, right?
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Right.
You guys want me to do more, or are we done with math?
I want to do more since I love math
Right on.
and The Office.
Reggie, never mind.
No worries. No, what was it?
Reggie,
Well,
for the third,
But still with that one equation.
it says
The one
negative.
that-
I looked on the algebra calculator and it says it's negative 2/5 x, but I said it's negative 2.5.
The algebra calculator said it's negative 2/5 x.
I know. I think it's because you forgot to convert it. So first it
I
says
don't think you're doing-
negative 1 equals negative 2.5.
Aiden,
I did like
Aiden, you're
1 over or 1 divided
So, Tarak,
by 5 equals 0.4, which is equal to
Aiden, I'm not listening. Sorry.
Reggie?
2 over.
yes.
Please do not interrupt. Okay.
For the first question,
Uh-huh.
I got
Just mute your microphone if you're not talking.
because at the end I didn't I got 4x equals 64,
Okay.
and then what is that? What I do from there?
So if you have 4 times x, right? Because 4x is 4 times x, right?
Yeah.
So if you have 4 times x equals 64, right, Oliver?
Yeah.
Then that means that x would then equal 64 divided by 4, right?
Yes.
So since you have 4x equals 64, anytime you're left with a number times x equals another number, like 4x equals 64, divide by the number multiplying by x. So in this case, you're going to 4. Exactly. You're going to divide both sides by 4. 4x divided by 4 is just x, right, Oliver?
Yeah.
So you have x, and then 64 divided by 4 is what x then equals.
Reggie, is there a way that you can disable the chat because it's so distracting?
I don't know if there is.
Is what you have on the board the answer for the C?
Probably.
Letter C.
No.
So x equals -1.
Isn't it x equals -1, and then the other one is x equals -2/5?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there, why my checking it didn't work. You guys could sit here and watch me troubleshoot, or I could just figure it out when class is over. And then
I got x equals -2.5.
I know, and I got x equals -2/5.
I got x equals -2/5.
I'm not going to mark you wrong. Don't worry about that. The only thing I'm worried about is I want to figure out what I did wrong.
Wait,
and
for
then show
which
you
one?
guys.
Wait, for which one? C?
Yeah, I think so.
C
What
is
is it on the
negative
homework,
1.
guys?
I said
No,
X
not
is
C.
-1.
D then, maybe? Or B? Which one is it, Kainoa?
He got x equals
B,
0.4
B.
or 2
Wait, for
2
B?
over 5.
For B.
Yeah.
B like
You know they can hear you, Kaylee.
bowls.
What's D?
Which one?
D.
How is it written? Is that the 2x squared plus 100 equals 5x squared minus 407?
No, that's 4x
It's
squared.
the last one.
X equals 2.
Yeah, let me look at it.
X equals 2.
That's D.
Okay, let me, here, I'll solve it, Aiden. All right, follow
Thanks,
along.
I got x equals 2. Is that right?
We're going to find out, aren't we?
That one's.
Well,
I
I mean,
just don't understand how it's -2/5 and not
Are we doing
-2.5.
B?
Well, Kainoa, I don't know how you got -2.5.
Yeah,
We
kind of. I
had-
did the equation. That's not right.
I don't think it's right. I really don't.
I know,
That's
you have
not
to
right,
convert it.
Kainoa.
Kainoa, didn't we get to 86x minus 3 plus 4, what was it, 5, 6x?
Wait, what is 1/2 x?
2, right, Kainoa?
Well, because I got 1/2 x minus 1 equals 3x, and then you said.
Yeah, you had 1/2 x minus 1 equals 3x, right?
Yeah.
So now what do you do?
So now I just subtract 1/2 x from 3x, which is 2.5x.
So then you get -1 equals 2.5 times x.
Yeah.
Okay, so the x is not 2.5 there. 2.5 times 2.5 is not -1.
I'm so stupid.
No worries. I might have gotten it wrong. We're still figuring out what I did wrong. So
Isn't it
don't feel like we're
-1?
stupid.
-1 divided by 2.5.
Right. That's how I got -2/5. I'm still trying to figure out if I did something wrong somewhere.
And it's -0.4.
Right, which is what I got.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Bye.
No worries. Did you guys want to see D? You guys wanted to see D, right?
Isn't it 2?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out.
Yes. No, I want.
Margot, are you saying yes, it's 2, or yes, you want to see me do it?
I was saying yes. I want to see you do it.
Okay. I realize I'm just giving you guys the answer to the homework. I just want you guys
That's
to know
fine.
how to do
It
it.
helps
Okay.
us.
Yes.
It helps
Okay.
us understand.
For sure. And that's the goal. So
we
let
should-
me write this out. 4x squared minus 11 equals 2x squared plus 9 minus 3x squared. Correct? Can everyone see this? Yes. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to notice here is that I have a 2x squared minus a 3x squared. And those are like terms. I now have 2x squareds. You can even imagine I have an x squared and then another x squared. I have 2 of them. And now I'm subtracting 3 of them minus x squared, subtracting 3 of them, right? That's an x squared. There. So I had 2x squareds. I subtracted 3x squareds. So that's going to leave me with a negative x squared, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to do before I jump in is I'm just going to combine these two terms. So I actually have 4x squared minus 11 equals negative x squared, which again is like negative 1x squared plus 9. So now I want to get my x's on one side and my numbers on the other. Doesn't matter the order you do it.
X's.
What was that, Nico?
Nothing.
Oh, a ton of x's. Oh, fun fact, Nico. I've been with my girlfriend since freshman year of college, so I actually only have one x.
Cool.
I know. Look at me go. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. Again, there isn't one way to do it. Your goal is just to get your x's on one side and the numbers on the other. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. So now I have 4x squared minus 11 plus 11. Minus 11 plus 11 is just 0. And then I have negative 1x squared plus 9 plus 11. Those just become plus 20.
Nico, your chair is haunted.
So now I have 4x squared
Harry Potter?
equals negative x squared plus 20. Remember, negative x squared is the same as negative 1x squared. It's the same thing. So now I want to get my x's on one side. So I have negative 1x squared plus 20 equals 4x squared. So if I have a negative 1x squared and I want to get rid of that, I can just add 1x squared. So I'm going to do plus x squared or 1x squared. It's the same thing to both sides. So now I have negative x squared plus 20 plus x squared plus 1x squared. And of course, negative 1x squared and positive 1x squared cancel out. They become 0. 4x squared plus 1 more x squared is going to be 5x squared. So now I have 5x squared equals 20. You do not do the square root first. It's going to make your life way more challenging. And first, we're going to do, remember what we do here, Oliver? We have a number times x, in this case, x squared equals another number.
You have to divide
Exactly.
the number by itself and then divide the other number by the number that
So what am I going to divide by?
5.
5, exactly. So now 5x squared divided by 5 is just here, guys. I'm moving this up here. 5x squared divided by 5 is just x squared because my 5's have canceled out. 20 divided by 5 equals what? 4.
4.
So now I get x squared equals 4. I can, now that I got my x squared, that's all that's left, I can square root both sides. You can use a calculator. Obviously, we know root 4 is 2, but you can use a calculator because it won't always be this obvious. So the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 4 is 2. Yes?
What's classification?
You mean on the table?
Yeah.
So that just means, in this case, just linear, quadratic, or cubic, Oliver. Linear is just a degree of 1. Okay.
So if it's linear, it's a degree of 1.
Yes. And on a graph, it would just look like a straight line. Okay.
Okay.
Quadratic is a degree of 2, Oliver.
Okay.
And that's anytime an equation, the highest exponent is 2. And a graph of those will look like a parabola, like a U.
Okay.
Right? And then a cubic is a degree of 3, meaning the highest exponent in the equation is to the third. And a cubic sort of looks like 2 parabolas together or an S shape. Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
But
Reggie, are we done?
I'm not 17.
Oh yeah, Aiden, class is over. I'm just continuing to go over stuff to help you guys out if you want to hang out, but you can leave at any time.
Okay, so that was the last thing. Also, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have to somehow post what we wrote on the doc?
Yeah, you can just write down the steps. You don't have to like write down that you're adding 11 or whatever.
So Aiden, I realize it's a lot easier to write this stuff out. I want to see your work because that's going to tell me if you guys are doing it right.
Okay, so I just take a picture of it. And
But
then
you can take a picture and email it. The easiest thing for me, if it's not that hard for you, is to take a picture and then just put it into the Google Doc.
Okay, I'll
Is
do
that-
that then.
Cool. That's totally fine. I'm fine with you doing that every assignment. I just want to see how you're doing it. So if you're making any mistakes, I can see where they are.
Reggie?
Yes. Sorry, Oliver. I didn't finish your answer. What was that?
But I got my degree was 17. What does that mean?
For where?
For my first question, I got x equals 17, and then I plugged that in, and it said that was right. So
you're saying in the
the first question in the whole document.
Right. You solved for X and got 17?
I got 17.
So I believe that's correct, Oliver. I haven't solved it, but you did more work than was necessary, okay? So when you're finding the degree and the classification, you don't actually have to solve for X, Oliver. You just find the largest exponent in the equation. The reason why this is important is the degree of the equation is going to be equal to the number of solutions. So I want you guys to be able to just look at an equation and know what the degree is, so you'll know how many solutions there are. Does that make sense?
So what's the degree?
So
The largest number?
The largest exponent. Okay. So let me show you real quick. Can you see my screen?
No. Yes.
Okay. So I just pulled those from this table here. Okay. So this first one, Oliver, 3g plus 2 equals 12. There's no exponent, right? But this g that doesn't have an exponent, it's just like g to the first. Okay. It's like to an exponent of 1. Okay. So anytime you don't see an exponent, just assume it's a 1. So the degree here would be 1 because that's the largest exponent. So it's linear. In this next one, the largest exponent is this 2, right? Because there's no other exponents.
Okay, so then it'll be
So the
quadratic.
degree is 2, and it's quadratic.
And then in
this
that one,
next-
the degree is 3.
Exactly. So that's all it is. It's really simple to identify the degree in the classification, but I just want you to know how to do it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop presenting so you guys can see my handy-dandy whiteboard again. Should I do another one? I did them all from the homework already, right?
B.
B. The
Bye, Reggie.
mysterious
Thank
B.
you.
Take care, Aiden. Was that you,
Nico
Max?
was being racist during B, so I couldn't concentrate.
Let's not be racist, Nico.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I'm just putting videos that I watched that Max wanted to see.
I actually didn't want to see any of those. Those were unwarranted. You didn't get my consent. You actually didn't get my consent, so please don't share those.
Okay, Reggie. Is this the same type of thing we're doing tomorrow?
Probably. I am still figuring our unit out.
I agree.
So
Are
I
we
don't know
just
exactly
doing-
what we're gonna do tomorrow.
Are we just doing like X stuff again, or we just have to like find X a lot?
Well, yeah, basically. But this is review. What we're really working on this unit is I'm going to give you 2 equations like this. I'm going to go y equals 3x plus 5 and y equals 8x minus 6. And you're going to find where they intersect.
Yeah.
So you're going to solve for x and y, okay?
Okay.
And
What
then they're
is
going to start to
Ferris
look, and this
Bueller's
is like the
track?
easiest way. Then they're going to start to give them to you like this, where they're like
Let me put it.
6x plus 8y equals -10. 3x minus 5y minus 2 equals 0. Where do those lines intersect? You don't
No,
have to know.
do
Don't
that.
worry.
I
It's
can't.
not that hard. And
It's
I know you don't
really-
know how to do it because
It's
you've
really-
never seen it before.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry.
It's okay. It's
Please
not
cry.
that hard. And the
wanna-
reason you don't know how to do it is because you've never seen it before. Instead of, you just asked what we're going to be doing. So I'm showing you what's down the road. Okay.
Okay. I don't.
Ferris Offie diss track. Are you a? What does that say? P. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Wait, why is it the same image all the way through? It just says, "Are you a?" What are
Oh,
these links you're sending me, Nico?
shoot. Is that what I did? No.
Let me open this other one. You can't handle this song. 501st. Hey Lego, we want a 501st battle pack. You can't handle this fire song. 501st battle pack. A Lego Star Wars rap. Rich boy.
Okay.
Ah, hey, hey.
Max, you wanted to see B?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if I made a mistake, you can help me spot it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm trying to figure out why our solution didn't work. So I've got 4x minus 9 over 3, right? Minus 5x plus 12 over 6, right? Equals 3x.
Yes.
So I just broke this apart into 4/3 x minus 9/3. Okay?
Okay.
And then I get minus 5/6 x plus 12/6. Okay, hey Gabe, how you doing?
Good. I'm sorry, Reggie. It said we had Spanish, and then I thought we had Spanish, so I was doing Spanish, and I didn't see that you posted this.
We don't
It's
even
okay.
have Spanish today, Gabriel.
I just
Class
recorded for
only
an
ended
hour
10
and a half.
minutes ago.